Cubbies, we're back, and today we're going to start our lesson with a question. Why should we be kind? Why should we be kind, Madison? Why do you think?
Because Jesus wants us to.
I think you're right. I think Jesus wants us to be kind. What do you think, Cubbies? Why don't you tell me? Why should we be kind? Those are all good answers. Now, the best reasons and the best reason to be kind is because God tells us in His Word. And who's in charge? God is in charge. Can you guys say that with me? God is in charge. That's right. So when He tells us to do something, we should do it. He's the King of everyone. We should obey what He says. But sometimes we have a hard time obeying God as King. So let's see. Do you remember we talked about the Israelites? They were wandering through the desert. And in the desert, they had a hard time obeying God's 10 Commandments. They didn't really listen to God. Do you remember the 10 Commandments? We had commands 1, 2, 3, and 4 that told us ways to love God. And in Mark 12:30, Jesus says, love the Lord your God with all your heart. Let's say that together. Love the Lord your God with all your heart. Let's do it one more time, Cubbies. Love the Lord your God with all your heart. Great job. Jesus also said we should love others. So commands 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 tell us the ways to love each other. But the Israelites didn't obey God's 10 commandments in the desert. But God gave them another chance to obey when He brought them home to the promised land, the land of Canaan. Remember this promised land. It was beautiful and green. So Cubbies, what do you think happened? Do you think the Israelites obeyed God's commands in the new land? What do you think, Madison? No. At first they tried to obey, but then something very sad happened. Let's see what happened. Oh no. They forgot about God and all the good things that He had done for them. They disobeyed all of God's 10 commandments. So let's see, what is this guy doing down here? Looks like he's bowing down to a golden cow. He thinks that cow is a god. I think that's kind of silly. You guys think that's silly? It's pretty silly. We know there's only one God, and He's not a golden cow. This man is disobeying one of God's commands, right? He's not showing love to God. He's not worshiping God. He's worshiping someone else. So let's see what else we have. We have people stealing. So she is not obeying God's commands. We have people arguing here. We have a child who's disobeying their parents. All these people breaking God's commands. And we still do that today, don't we? Now, the Israelites kept on obeying, and after a while, they told God they didn't want Him to be their king anymore. That's not very nice. The Israelites said, give us a man to be our king. All the other lands have men as kings, so why shouldn't we? God was still the true king, but He decided to give them the kind of king they wanted. He chose a man named Saul to be the first king of the Israelites. So here we go. Here's the king, King Saul right here. Saul looked like a king. He was the tallest of the people. He looked good on the outside. But something was wrong with Saul on the inside. What do you think was wrong? What do you think is wrong?
Maybe he's not nice on the inside.
Maybe not. King Saul didn't want to obey God's commands. So God said he couldn't stay king for very long. God would have to find a different king. So what kind of king do you think God would find? What do you think?
Maybe one that's a Christian?
Yeah, maybe one that listens to God, that follows God's commands. So let's see what happened. So God told a man named Samuel, here's Samuel right here, where to find the new king. Samuel, God said, go and visit a father named Jesse in the town of Bethlehem. I've picked one of his sons to be king. Where have we heard Bethlehem before?
Where Jesus was born?
Yeah. So maybe these are some relatives of Jesus here from before He was born. Okay, so Samuel's going to Bethlehem. So he gets there and he has all these sons. So Samuel saw Jesse's first son, Eliab. He was the tallest and the oldest, and he looked like a king. This must be the one, thought Samuel. But God said, no, he's not the one. He may look like a king on the outside, but I look at the heart on the inside. God wanted a king who would love and obey him. So then Samuel saw Jesse's second son. God said, no, he's not the one. Samuel saw the third son. God still said, no, he's not the one either. Samuel saw the fourth son, the fifth son, the sixth son, the seventh son. He's going through all the sons. God hadn't chosen any of these sons to be king. Do you have any more sons? Samuel asked Jesse. Well, yes, there's one more, said Jesse, but he's watching the sheep. He's the youngest of all. So let's see. There he is. He's out watching the sheep, acting as the shepherd. Bring him here, said Samuel. Well, when the youngest son, David, walked in, the Lord told Samuel, he's the one. Really? Could the youngest and the smallest son really be the next king? Yes. David would love and obey the Lord, and that's the kind of king God wanted. He wasn't concerned that he was big and tall and strong. He was looking at David's heart. Now, so Samuel poured oil on David's head. In the Bible, that's what people did before someone became king. It was called anointing him. When David grew up, he would become the next king of Israel. Now, David wasn't perfect. He made mistakes, just like we all do. But God knew that David wanted to love and obey the Lord. Cubbies, do you want to love and obey the Lord? I know Madison wants to love and obey the Lord. In Mark 12:30, Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. That means you should love God with every single part of you. Everything you think and feel and do. So Cubbies, what are some ways you can love God? What do you think, Cubbies? Those are good ideas. What do you think, Madison? How can we love God?
You can listen to your parents.
Yeah, that's a good one. Listening to your parents, listening to your teachers if you go to school, being kind to people. Remember, loving others is a way to love God too. Well, that's our story for today. And next time, we're going to learn more about David and what he did before he became king. Thanks for joining us, Cubbies. We'll see you next time.